Chocolate cake recipe. Check out these 4 recipes. Chocolate craving cake. Prep time 5 minutes. Cook time 40 minutes. Total time 45 minutes. Ingredients: 1 cup or 125 grams of all-purpose flour, 1 cup or 200 grams of granulated sugar, half a cup or 63 grams of unsweetened cocoa powder, 3/4 teaspoon of baking powder, 3/4 teaspoon of baking soda, half a teaspoon of salt, 1 large egg, half a cup or 100 grams of whole milk, 1/4 cup or 55 grams of oil, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, half a cup or 118 grams of warm water, can use coffee. Frosting: 1 cup of milk chocolate chips, half a cup of sour cream, half a teaspoon of vanilla. Instructions for the cake: preheat oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Line an 8 by 8 inch glass or ceramic baking dish with parchment paper and spray sides and bottom. If using a metal baking pan, heat the oven to 325 degrees Fahrenheit. Mix the flour, sugar, cocoa powder, baking powder, baking soda, and salt in the bowl of the stand mixer. Add in the egg, milk, oil, and vanilla and mix on low until incorporated. When mixed in, increase the speed to medium and mix for 2 minutes. Add in the warm water and gently stir. Batter will be very thin. Pour the batter into the prepared dish. Bake for 35 to 40 minutes or until an inserted toothpick is removed. Cool for 10 minutes in the pan, then continue cooling on a rack until room temperature. Frosting: in a medium microwave-safe bowl, heat the chocolate chips in the microwave at 50% power in 30-second increments, stirring after each heating until they are fully melted. Add the sour cream and vanilla and stir by hand until the frosting is well combined and fluffier. Spread over the cooled cake. Number 2. The best moist chocolate cake recipe. Prep time 40 minutes. Cook time 30 minutes. Total time 1 hour and 10 minutes. Ingredients for the chocolate cake: 2 cups or 260 grams of flour, 2 cups or 416 grams of sugar, 3/4 of a cup or 85 grams of natural unsweetened cocoa powder, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 large eggs, 1 cup or 240 milliliters of buttermilk, 1 cup or 240 milliliters of vegetable oil, 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla, 1 cup or 240 milliliters of hot water. Chocolate frosting: 1 1/4 cups or 280 grams of butter, 1 1/4 cups or 237 grams of shortening, 9 cups or 1,035 grams of powdered sugar, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1 cup or 114 grams of natural unsweetened cocoa powder, 4 to 5 tablespoons or 60 to 75 milliliters of water or milk. Chocolate ganache: 6 ounces or 1 cup or 169 grams of semi-sweet chocolate chips, half a cup of heavy whipping cream, and sprinkles. Instructions: prepare 3 8-inch cake pans with parchment paper circles in the bottom and grease the sides. Preheat the oven to 300 degrees Fahrenheit or 148 degrees Celsius. Add all of the dry ingredients to a large bowl and whisk together. Add the eggs, the buttermilk, and vegetable oil to the dry ingredients and mix well. Add vanilla to boiling water and add to mixture, mix well. Divide the batter evenly between the cake pans and bake for 30 to 33 minutes or until a toothpick comes out with a few crumbs. Remove the cakes from the oven and allow to cool for about 10 minutes, then remove to cooling racks to cool completely. Make frosting while cakes cool. Beat together the butter and shortening until smooth. Slowly add 4 cups or 460 grams of powdered sugar and mix until smooth. Add vanilla and half of the water or milk and mix until smooth. Add another 5 cups or 575 grams of powdered sugar and mix until smooth. Add cocoa and mix until smooth. Add the remaining water or milk until the frosting is the right consistency. Once the cakes are cool, Remove the cake domes from top with a large serrated knife. See my tips on how to level a cake and how to stack a cake. Place the first layer of a cake on a cake plate. Spread about 1 cup of frosting on top in an even layer. Add the second layer of cake and add another cup of frosting on top in an even layer. Add the final layer of cake on top and frost the outside of the cake. Feel free to use my tutorial for frosting a smooth cake. To make the chocolate ganache, add the chocolate chips to a medium-sized bowl. See my tips on making chocolate ganache. Heat the heavy whipping cream just until it begins to boil, then pour it over the chocolate chips. Allow it to sit for 2 to 3 minutes and whisk until smooth. Drizzle the chocolate ganache around the edge of the cake, then pour the remainder of the ganache on top of the cake and spread evenly. I like to use a squeezy bottle for drizzling around the edges. See my tips on making a chocolate drip cake. Allow the ganache to firm up a bit, then pipe the remainder of the frosting around the top edge of the cake and pipe a border around the bottom. I use a Teco Tip 844. Add a few sprinkles to the cake if desired, then serve. Cake is best when well covered for 3 to 4 days. Number 3. Best ever chocolate fudge cake. Ingredients: for cakes, 4 cups of flour, 1 cup of cocoa powder, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1½ teaspoons of baking soda, half a teaspoon of salt, 4 large eggs, 1 cup of buttermilk, 4 tablespoons of mayonnaise, 1 1/3 cups of unsalted butter, 2 1/4 cups of brown sugar, 1 1/4 cups of stout, fudge frosting, 12 ounces of dark chocolate, 2 1/4 cups of unsalted butter at room temperature, 4 1/2 cups of powdered sugar, sifted, 1 tablespoon of vanilla bean paste. Steps: make the cake. Preheat the oven to 350 degrees. Butter and line 3 9-inch cake pans. Sieve the flour, cocoa powder, baking powder, baking soda, and salt into a large mixing bowl and mix together. In a separate bowl, whisk the eggs, buttermilk, and mayonnaise together. Put the butter into a saucepan and let it melt, then add the brown sugar. Stir until it's mostly dissolved, then take off the heat and add in the stout. Pour the sugar mixture into the dry ingredients and mix, then add in the egg mixture. Mix until just combined, then divide between 3 prepared pans. Bake for 20 to 25 minutes until the skewer comes out clean. Let the cakes cool in their pans for 15 minutes, then transfer them to a wire rack to cool fully. Fudge frosting. Finely chop the chocolate, then put it in a large bowl set over a saucepan of simmering water. Don't let the bowl touch the water. Once melted, set aside for 15 minutes or until almost at room temperature. In a large mixing bowl, add the butter, powdered sugar, and vanilla paste. Cream together with a wooden spoon. Slowly add the cooled, melted chocolate while mixing with the hand mixer. Assemble the cake. Use 1/4 of the frosting to sandwich the first 2 layers together, making sure you're iced right up to the edge. Use the same amount to sandwich the 3rd layer on top, then use the remaining frosting to cover the top and sides of the cake. Smooth over with a spatula or a palette knife. Number 4. InaGartens chocolate cake. Prep time 20 minutes. Cook time 35 minutes. Yield 16 servings. Dry ingredients: 1 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour, 2 cups of granulated sugar, 3/4 cup of cocoa powder, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt. Wet ingredients: 1 cup of buttermilk. I used half and half, which worked fine too. Half a cup of vegetable oil, 2 large eggs, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, 1 cup of hot coffee. For the frosting, 6 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate chopped, 1 cup of unsalted butter, 2 sticks room temperature, 3 cups of powdered sugar, sifted, 1 pinch of salt, 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, and half a cup of sour cream. Instructions for the cake. Preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit and butter 2 8-inch round cake pans and line the bottoms with parchment paper discs. Whisk all of the dry ingredients together well in a large bowl. In a separate bowl, whisk together all of the wet ingredients. Slowly add the wet ingredients to the dry ingredients, mixing as you go. Once incorporated, add the hot coffee and mix everything until there are no pockets of dry flour left. The batter will be very thin. Divide the batter between 2 cake pans and bake for 35 minutes until risen and a toothpick inserted into the center of the cake comes out with wet batter clinging to it. Allow the cakes to partially cool in the pans, then turn out onto a cooling rack to completely cool before frosting. The cakes can be made a day or 2 ahead and kept in the refrigerator before frosting. For the frosting, melt the chocolate in a double boiler or in the microwave using short bursts. Stir until smooth and set aside to cool slightly. Beat the room temperature butter in a bowl of a stand mixer with a paddle attachment for a couple of minutes until smooth and noticeably paler in color. Slowly add the powdered sugar, salt, and vanilla, beating on a low-medium speed until everything is smooth. Whisk the sour cream into the partially cooled melted chocolate. This both cools down the chocolate and warms up the sour cream so that both are more or less room temperature before adding to the butter mixture. Add the chocolate and sour cream mixture to the mixer bowl and beat on low speed until everything is smooth and combined. If your frosting seems a little too loose, you can refrigerate it for 10 to 15 minutes to allow it to firm up a little bit. Then give it a good stir before frosting the cake.